Hello and welcome to another edition of Community Tapestry. My name is Napoleon Bell and I'm the Executive Director with the City of Columbus Community Relations Commission. I'd like to welcome you, but I'd also like to welcome my co-host.
Tony Teague. It's good to be back.
It's great to be back. You know, we've had a great time over the last couple months. The sun is out, you know, and I see everybody in their backyard.
Grass is green.
Grass is green, but what
Gardens
about
are going?
Well, the gardens are going, not in my yard. I don't know about yours.
I could use some help with my garden. I need someone to come and till my garden. That's all I need. If somebody can come and till it for me, then I can do the rest. I need some help.
Some help there.
I need some
help.
help.
You can do the planting and all that.
Yeah, I can do the planting and I can weed and all that stuff, but I do need somebody to till that from last year.
Well, I tell you what. Well, you know, and people talk about, you know, if you do garden, that it's, you know, better and more nutritious for you.
Right.
You know, but it takes some time though.
It takes time, and I think that people think that it takes a lot more money than it does, and I don't think that people really understand the diversity that you can have a vegetable garden. Of course, people have flower gardens, which gives curb appeal. Marigolds in your garden keeps the rabbits out, but there's even more to it, and we had a chance to explore that. There's a growing movement among urban dwellers of eating fresh local food. Some folks go to farmers markets like this one held downtown in Pearl Alley, while others try their hand at vegetable gardening at home or in neighborhood lots. Then there are those city residents who take it to a whole nother level.
Hello, Lee. My name is John David Hawks. I'm a resident of the city of Columbus, Ohio, and I'm an urban farmer.
More and more, backyard chicken farming has become a hot new trend among our neighborhood residents.
Primarily, I wanted to get them for the eggs. I like the part of farming where I put in the hard work and then I receive a reward for the work that you put into it.
Meet Trish Kearns. She and her husband John are retired. They raise chickens in their backyard.
I said to him, honey, what do you think about having a few chickens in the backyard since we got such a nice big backyard? I hardly finished the sentence and he said, yes. We got 8. He picked out 4 of the 8 and I picked out 4 of the 8. And we thought, okay, I picked out the Leghorns because that's the only name I remembered in chickens from, you know, yeah. So he picked out the Bromas and I said, well, let's see who lays the most eggs. Well, he won because the Bromas are better layers.
Here in Columbus, before you can raise chickens, there are certain steps you have to take.
Just did some investigation. I contacted the public health department and was put in touch with Dr. Messer, and then proceeded to ask questions and go through the process.
In order to keep poultry in the city of Columbus, people do need to make an application and supply an application to my office. In addition to the application form, they have some what I call homework to do.
You have to submit plans, you have to submit how the coop will be laid out, you have to submit photographs, you have to show weekly and even daily methods of how you're going to clean and care for the chickens.
After your application is approved, you can get your chickens, but there is a final inspection from Columbus Public Health. Some of the things they look for are making sure that your pen is secure and not an eyesore, looking to see if the birds are doing well, checking the feed storage, seeing that waste doesn't go into your neighbor's property, and making sure that the waste is properly disposed of.
Waste disposal for chickens includes composting of their waste or a contract with an approved waste hauler that can haul the waste off of their property. And in certain circumstances, we allow for the waste to be tilled into garden soil late in the fall.
Once it's inspected and once you've submitted plans of how you're going to care for the chickens, keep their coops safe and clean and healthy, that standard is set so high that it really squelches and really puts to rest anyone's concern that it's going to be unhealthy or unsafe. The concerns that any of my neighbors had was prior to even getting the chickens. It was when they saw the coop in the garage before the chickens ever arrived. And once the coop was moved in the back, the chickens were old enough to be moved outside. there was nothing to complain about because there's no smell. They're completely clean. They're not silent, but they're certainly not loud. You know, it hurts to lay that little egg.
We're seeing a higher proportion of persons requesting permits and a decreasing number of persons complaining about them.
Do that.
After all the work, you have to wait for the benefits. How old are the chickens when they start laying?
Between 5.5, 6 months. Yeah, that's another thing I learned. Kept waiting for them to lay eggs, but not until 6 months. And I found that they don't lay when they're molting, when they're losing their feathers.
You don't get an egg a day per chicken, but these little ladies like to lay eggs, and so I get probably minimum of 4, often 5 eggs a day.
And they do taste better. And I think they have more vitamins than the ones that have been sitting around in the store for a long time. They're fresher, they're better for you, they're good.
And the quality of the eggs are top-notch. I store them in the refrigerator, and they're not there long. I go to my church has a home fellowship group, and everyone that goes there would like eggs. I don't have a problem giving them away at all.
And I usually share the eggs with our son that lives 2 miles down the road. And so we got a call from our son Chad, and he said, I got a complaint, and we said, what's that? He says, well, I had to buy store-bought eggs, and these eggs taste terrible because we had them spoiled. He's used to eating the fresh eggs.
I think the kind of person that would enjoy having chickens or having an urban farm is someone that sees the value in taking care of something and getting a reward for it. I think it's something that does require you to stop from a busy life and you're caring for something.
There are a lot of resources out there to teach you how to raise chickens. Again, if you're a Columbus resident, you have to get an animal permit from Columbus Public Health. To do that, go to publichealth.columbus.gov and click on the Programs tab. Then click on Animals and Insects. That'll take you to another page where you can find animal permits. If you just have a question, you can call 614-645-6134.
You know, we're back on our second segment. We had a great tour, a civil rights tour, the annual Civil Rights Historic Heritage Tour that the City of Columbus Community Relations Commission, our office, puts on. So happy that went very well. Yeah. We had a full bus. We had 55 people come on the tour, and better yet, we had about 21 of those people were youth that were under the age of 18. So we need to welcome Sherry Lynn Wynn. You know, she's the program director at the Department of Recreation and Parks, of the program being the Capital Kids and City Leaders also?
That's correct.
So you are working with a lot of young people there.
A lot of brilliant young people.
Exactly right. You know, and the greatest thing about this is that not only that you went on the tour, but you brought some of your young kids and young aspiring kids on the tour.
Yes.
And they were inspiring.
They were.
Yeah, so we had a great time, and so we want to learn about some of those experiences. But first, let me ask you, because this being your second time on the tour, mm-hmm. What was different? What did what was with your experiences? Tell us a little bit about your experiences first time and second time on the tour. What was,
Well, the first time, first of all, thank you for having me participate with this show. The first time I took my daughter, and I thought it was a great bonding experience for us, learn a little bit of our heritage. I felt as though I did not feel an authority on my heritage, and I thought that tour would take me to that level. Then it allowed some time with my daughter, so it was a family trip at that time. This time I had the opportunity to go and take 6 of our young people, and I saw everything through their eyes. So that was a fabulous experience. We had a 3rd grader, a 5th grader, and then we had middle school students. So I had different views and opinions mm-hmm. coming from the tour. So it was quite an experience and very exciting again. And I will be going again next year.
All
That's
right.
great. So can you tell us what was some of the reactions from the kids? Because you get a chance to be with them for the remainder of the school year. So what transformation, if any, did you see in them?
It was an amazing trip for them. I guess going into it originally, I didn't expect them to feel some of the things that they felt feel the emotion of the trip. I never expected that. I just felt it to be an educational experience, but they were moved by the trip. Our third grader, which may have been a little young to come on a trip like that, was a little overwhelmed, but all of our other young people thought that it was a phenomenal experience. They learned about their heritage. They learned about how not only African Americans were part of the civil rights struggle, but how all cultures were involved with the struggle. And I think that was key for them. It was very key because it always seems to be an African American thing when you talk about civil rights. But civil rights, there were so many people, young and old, who helped in that movement. So I think they gained that experience as well.
Well, what was the impact also? Because, you know, when going through the different venues and seeing that, you know, who made the turn were actually the young people that were involved in the civil rights tour or in the civil rights movement, of their involvement and going to jail. Did you have a chance to kind of recap after they got back here and were back in the program? Did they ever talk about well, I would or I wouldn't do that, and
Absolutely they did, and most of them would have done it, but a lot of them would have had the problem with not fighting back. And that was the greatest conversation that we had, how our people had to take it. And if they didn't take it, they were whipped, they were thrown overboard a ship, they were brutalized. And I believe that came very real for them, that, it's that type of an experience.
Why did the students decide to accept your invitation to come on this trip?
Well, first of all, I think there wasn't any stress or strain on their parents, so we thank our wonderful sponsors and partners for being able to provide that opportunity. But it was a great learning component that we hope to add into our programs. In fact, our summer camps are adding that civil rights education to our summer programming.
Great.
So we're really excited about that. So those young people are serving as ambassadors, going back and telling their family and their friends all about the tour. So you'll probably get bombarded for next year.
All right.
In addition to telling their friends, they're treating their friends differently. Even the whole issue of bullying has come up with regard to, they felt that our people were being bullied. I mean, at that level, that's how they related it. So it just has provided an opening and an opportunity to continue to educate them and lead them to help others.
Wow, that's amazing. And you took about 21 young people this time. We hope we can take a few more, but we have a bus of 56. So we think we had a great mix.
It was a good mix, a good ratio of adults to students.
And it was a family. The whole bus experience was we were family. We became family. So it was a nice
What changed in you the second time around? And you've talked about the fact that you were able to bring the young people, et cetera, but you talked about the first trip that you had, you were kind of full at some point. So what else did you gain from this trip personally?
Personally, I guess, each time you go on a trip, I think you pick up a different component. And I learned a lot of different tidbits. I learned different things about Rosa Parks that I wasn't aware of, that there were so many before her that had stood up or sat down.
Right.
But I did learn, that was something I didn't know. As an adult, I didn't know, but what it did is it just brings a warm and fuzzy feeling. It's pride that you come back with, but also you just think about situations that you're in your day-to-day lives and how it's just not that bad because you look at what others have gone through. So it was an opportunity for me to gain more knowledge so that I can help educate these children, allow myself to feel a little bit better about the awareness I have of my heritage, because that is something very important to me. So I think those few things.
Exactly. Well, let's also go to some of the pictures that were taken.
Okay.
Because these pictures, and you might see yourself in some of them. Now this one was at the at the Freedom Center in Cincinnati, and that was one of the exhibits there. And if we just go through the pictures there, I think we have, and that was outside, you know, a group shot, right? You're in that group shot among others. So you can see that
that's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, in Atlanta, Georgia, right out there in front of the King Center. And there was one of the students.
There's one of our city leaders.
Yeah, that were there at the Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Nice shot.
What a reflective shot that is.
Now this was a group from SAVE. From SAVE, Strategies Against Violence Everywhere, and they were there. They were part of the young people.
In front of Dr. Martin Luther King's birth home.
Exactly. We went to Tuskegee, Tuskegee University, and that was one of our writers. She came from California to be on the tour. Saw it on the internet and flew in from California to be a part of the tour. We went to Selma, and that was an exciting but also very emotional location because of, you know, it hasn't changed since then.
Yeah, it is. It's an area that hasn't been touched by time,
exactly.
And they've done that intentionally. And how wonderful that is of a community to remain the same for the sake of history. And
the National Voting Rights Museum, you're so right. The National Voting Rights Museum, that was with our friend Sam, who is incredible, and that's what you see inside. That, you know, it's incredible the pictures and things that you see. That being a KKK robe, and this also Confederate flag along with the KKK emblem. They're learning about those things. This was in front of what? Brown's Chapel, where Dr. King and so many others gathered before the march on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And so we visited that location there.
Look at that family. It's
a
family.
Big family. And I talk about the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Yeah, there it is.
Speaking of the bridge.
We marched over that as a group, and that was very exciting. But also, you know, you think about that and you think back to when the marchers were marching across that bridge and marched over, but yet were beat back.
And they knew the dangers, and they were willing to face it.
Absolutely.
It was just, the issues were just that important to them.
Now this place.
You say this place, the Slavery and Civil War Museum.
Tell us about that for you.
It just sends chills through my bodies already. From the moment you exit the bus, you lose your identity. You have to walk with your knees bent. You cannot have eye contact with your slave master, and you had to make some really rough choices.
And so we don't want to tell everybody.
We're not.
We're not going to tell everybody.
The food, but with the story of that entrepreneur.
Exactly right. And it ends up at the Lorraine Motel, where we all know that's where Dr. King was assassinated, at the Lorraine Motel. Yes. We really are trying to make sure that we get families to come on board, you know, with this, because we know it's so important, and you yourself know after being on it twice, that to get families involved in this, and so that really we have the old and the young there, and they have that mentorship and the family, you know, unit that is there. So it's so very important.
If people would like information about next year's Civil Rights Tour, the information is actually up on the website. They can go to www.crc.columbus.gov, and on that homepage there is right in the middle there's information about the date and how to register.
And they can also call our office at 645-1993. That's 645-1993 for more information on the tour. Okay. You know, so, you know, Miss Sherry, we'd like to appreciate you for being on the tour.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, and also, well, Tony, there was a video that was put together. This video montage that you'll be seeing is some of the snapshots that were in part of it, but also the underlying audio is two of our young people that were on the tour that actually did poems and made them up on the spot there on the tour. So look for this. It's a great montage, but also those poems are so impactful.
And real talent. I think those poems will really touch your heart.
Thank you very kindly, my very dear friends. These churches are really low.
My name is Kevin Brown, and I wrote a poem just now. There was over 300 ships that came to shore, my people not knowing what's in store, not knowing that they would be stripped of their land, no longer to cheer hand in hand, husbands and wives forever apart, brothers and sisters screaming in the dark, brutally beat and chained in shackles, cotton picked and treated like cattle. Segregation kept us separated, but still we fight for equalization. MLK, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks never rest. They fought and fought for what they believed, for a better day for you and me. So here we are, tall and proud, no longer faces within the crowd.
As long as we keep moving like we are moving, the power structure of Birmingham will have to give in.
Power is. It doesn't really belong to you. It's like a yawn, contagious, a spirit passing through your body, and then it's gone. Do you try to control it? Do you remember what it feels like to be it? Recess it. Tag, you're it. Playground politics prevail. What happens when you have been it forever? And then you finally get rid of the touch when it's your turn to yawn, to fill your body with all that breath, all that power that has always been, power to name the value and impose it. Like immigrants who left home looking for dreams and personalized gods, they find American shores with stay in your lane signs, suffocating lies that they had improper tongues, bad noses, consonant cluster-filled surnames, customized slurs that made old countries turn invisible, emotional scars that are hereditary. They likely swear their children will have no battle wounds, no more victim tears. They contract a yawn like Indians and smallpox. Look for big shoes, big sticks, big breaths of power. They use their empathy to build crosses and then light them in the yards of people who live underfoot. Use their breath to name the value and impose it. Nigger slave, peoning, indentured servitude, Jim Crow, separate but equal, busing, no child left behind. And then the yawn passes, the power is gone. It comes to me, and I seek to repair their abuse of power, their squandering of breath control. And when the power travels through my body, I believe I'll be merciful with my turn, graceful with my yawn. I'll remember being underfoot and will tread lightly with my big shoes. But I name and impose value. Welfare baby, goofy girl, weird boy, nerd, Uncle Tom, freedom to believe what I believe. Poor folk, goody-goody, ugly duckling, no homo, crazy, stupid. You're it now, not me. And I shrink you under my foot. Blamed my inhumanity on power, on a yawn, on overwhelming temporary breath in my body that never belonged to me. If I am trusted again to contract a yawn, to wield all that wind power, if I am given a cross like the one burned in my yard, will I grind it to a million pieces and splinter everyone who has ever hurt me, everyone who looked smaller than me? Will I perfect my bully's bullying? Will I remember those who died before me so that I can be free to descend hope and to puncture ascending spirits? We don't lynch the same anymore. We tie nooses on personalities, squeeze life out of them till the bones pop. Dare the lotus to reach the top of the mud. Suffocate with belittling instead of robes and hoods. The next time you catch a little power, let it fill you like the breath of a yawn, sweeping through your body like a spirit, giving you more room to breathe, increased capacity to love, leaving you more pure than before.
This department is already in here, and they don't have some small fish from the Justice Department. They have some of the big fish in here. We are reminding them at all times that these persons are political prisoners, and there's a distinction between a political prisoner and somebody who's there for getting drunk, or somebody who's there for engaging in a robbery.
Anger. I mean, it's just every time, this did it.
Oh, yeah.
This did it right here. This brought it. I mean, because of the beginning and everything that African Americans have gone through. I mean, it's just, why can't people get along? The same blood runs through our streams through our veins. It's just we're just a diverse.
Keep this movement rolling in spite of the difficulties, and we're going to have a few more difficulties. Keep climbing. Keep moving. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
know, that wraps it up for this edition of Community Tapestry. If you do want to make contact with us, that would be great. And you can go to our Facebook page at Columbus Community Relations Commission. That's Columbus Community Relations Commission Facebook page. Like us, and we'll post things there, and we'd like to hear more about what you've done. And then also you can give our office a call at 645-1993. That's 645-1993. Not only about those type of things, but also if you have some great show ideas, we'd like to hear from you also. So, guess it's that time. So have a great week and take care.